Did you know that the way you breathe can activate your masculine energy in just a few minutes, even after the age of 60? In this eye-opening video, a medical expert teaches 3 proven breathing techniques that reactivate male vitality, increase circulation, reduce stress, and even help regain focus, disposition, and even desire. These techniques are simple, practical, and can be done at home, without medicine, without equipment, and with real results. If you feel like you've lost your rhythm, your spirits, or your stamina, this video is for you. Watch until the end to learn the full morning sequence that has helped thousands of men reconnect with their inner strength. Take a deep breath and start your transformation now. Subscribe to the channel for more videos with medical guidelines and natural strategies for a long, active, and energetic life after 60. When a man exceeds 60, a lot changes, but one of the quietest and at the same time most impactful changes is the one that few comment on: the drop in vital energy. It's not just about physical fatigue or difficulty keeping pace, it is something deeper. A feeling that the body is slower, the thought less sharp, the desire more distant. But what few know is that this energy can be activated again. And one of the most powerful keys is precisely where we least expect it: in breathing. Science has already proven that specific breathing techniques are capable of stimulating testosterone production, improving blood circulation, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, and even reducing cortisol levels, the stress hormone. All this without medicines, without supplements, and without miraculous promises. Only with the power of the air you already breathe every day, but in a conscious, directed, and focused way. In this video, we'll reveal 3 breathing techniques that are used by doctors, therapists, and longevity experts around the world to restore male vigor, mental clarity, and well-being. They were chosen based on scientific studies, and more importantly, adapted to be simple enough for any man to practice right now without having to leave the house. But before we go directly to the techniques, it's important to understand what masculine energy really means from a physiological standpoint. Contrary to what many think, it is not just about libido. Masculine energy is composed of 3 fundamental pillars: vital force, mental focus, and emotional stability. And all of them are directly connected to the way we breathe. Most people live in a pattern of shallow, accelerated breathing, the famous automatic mode. This type of breathing sends constant signals to the brain that we are alert, under tension. And over time, this pattern leads to exhaustion of the adrenal glands, a drop in testosterone, difficulty with erection, insomnia, irritability, and even mild depression. That's why relearning how to breathe is like relearning how to live. The first technique we're going to introduce is called coherent breathing, a practice validated by clinical studies at the HeartMath Institute and recommended by cardiologists and neurologists. It consists of synchronizing the heartbeat with the respiratory rhythm, generating a state of active calm where the body relaxes without losing focus. And the most interesting thing, it also stimulates the production of nitric oxide, a natural gas that dilates blood vessels and improves circulation, including in the genital regions. Here's how to apply it. Sit in a comfortable position with your spine upright. Inhale deeply through your nose for up to 5 seconds. Just exhale gently through your nose in the same time of 5 seconds. Repeat this cycle for at least 5 minutes, twice a day, preferably when you wake up and before bed. During the practice, keep your attention only on the breath. If thoughts arise, just observe and get back into the rhythm. Gradually, you will begin to notice that the body responds almost immediately. The shoulders relax, the mind quiets down, and a subtle warmth spreads through the chest. This is the effect of physiological coherence being reestablished, something that may seem subtle but represents a silent revolution in the body. Men who have adopted this technique report significant improvements in disposition, mental clarity, and even sexual performance. And the reason is that by balancing the nervous system, the body begins to use energy more intelligently, instead of wasting it on unnecessary stress. But that's not all. Coherent breathing is also a powerful ally against anxiety, which silently affects many men in old age, especially those who feel that they are losing control over their own body or their own desires. To breathe coherently is, in this sense, to take back command. The second technique that will be presented in this video acts even more intensely on the circulation and stimulation of libido, and will be demonstrated by a longevity specialist who has been working with the reactivation of vital energy in mature men for more than 20 years. Before we go into it, it's essential that you understand an often overlooked truth. Decline is not mandatory. Traditional medicine still insists on treating aging as a sentence, something that just needs to be administered. But the new science of longevity shows that aging can be active, potent, and full of energy. The difference is in the way we relate to our own body. Breathing well in this context is not just a technique. It is a daily choice, a conscious path, and it is exactly this awareness that will guide the next technique. While coherent breathing acts as a foundation, stabilizing the system and preparing the body to receive more energy, the next technique has an activating effect. It awakens areas that have been dormant, with a special focus on the perineum, the central region of the male life force. The second technique is known among physical therapists and men's health experts as active pelvic breathing. It is simple in execution, yet profoundly powerful. Its main function is to activate the pelvic floor muscles, a region that, when stimulated, improves blood supply to the genitals, strengthens the bladder, and contributes to an overall feeling of vitality that many men thought they had lost forever. But what does this have to do with breathing? Everything. Because active pelvic breathing is done in sync with subtle contractions of the muscles at the base of your trunk, the ones you activate when you try to stop the stream of urine. These muscles, called pubococcygeus muscles, function as an activation button of male energy. Stimulating them frequently means training the body to reconnect with the natural power that already exists within it, but that was dormant. Here's how to practice. Sit or stand with your spine straight. Inhale deeply through your nose while slightly contracting your perineum, as if stopping urine. Hold for 3 seconds. Exhale gently through your mouth, completely relaxing your pelvic muscles. Repeat this cycle 10 times in a row, twice a day. It is important not to tense your glutes or thighs. The focus should be on the center of the body, an area often overlooked but essential for male balance. Many men, when doing this exercise for the first time, report an almost immediate sensation of warming in the pelvic area, slight tingling, or even a spontaneous erection. This is because circulation is being reactivated where it matters most. And here's where a fundamental point comes in. This type of exercise is not just about sexuality, it's about integral health. When the perineum is strengthened and stimulated, there is a significant improvement in urinary control, posture, body balance, and even emotional confidence. All of this influences, directly or indirectly, the level of energy perceived in everyday life. In addition, this exercise activates a region linked to the body's first and second nervous plexus, areas that control deep emotions such as fear, anger, and insecurity. By consciously breathing and contracting this region, man not only improves his physiology, but also alters his emotional state, reducing accumulated tensions that were often not even noticed. This practice, when performed consistently, has the potential to rejuvenate the feeling of vitality within a few days. And this is not a theory. Urologists and physiologists who apply this technique in offices report visible clinical improvements in patients over 60 years of age. In fact, a study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine pointed out that pelvic floor exercises associated with conscious breathing increased sexual satisfaction by up to 50% in men over 65 years old after 6 weeks of continuous practice. But perhaps most interesting is the emotional perception that accompanies this technique. Men who felt erased, resigned, or simply invisible to the world begin to report a rebirth of desire for themselves, as if the body were saying, "I'm still here." This is one of the keys to male longevity, not ignoring the signs of erasure, but rather recognizing them as invitations to reconnection. Age does not determine the intensity of the inner fire, but how much we are willing to take care of fuel. And that's why the third technique goes beyond the physical part. It acts directly on the mind-body axis, rebalancing the endocrine system and activating the command center of vitality. Breathing with a focus on the lower abdomen and adrenal gland. This third technique has been used for decades in recovery programs for ex-combatants, elite athletes, and burnout patients. And it works because by consciously activating deep diaphragmatic movement, the body instantly reduces the production of stress hormones and makes room for a new flow of vital energy. The third technique is known as deep adrenal breathing, a practice that focuses on activating the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the control center of our energy system and stress response. For many men over the age of 60, this axis is in a state of chronic fatigue. And that means less vitality, less physical and emotional stamina, and a much slower recovery after any effort. What few know is that the adrenal gland responds directly to the way we breathe. When we live in a constant state of anxiety, tension, or even apathy, breathing tends to remain short, shallow, and accelerated. This prevents the diaphragm from working at depth, and with that, prevents the adrenal glands from being massaged naturally, as they should be in states of active calm. The technique you will learn now was developed from Eastern longevity practices and adapted by Western doctors for clinical application in men over 60. It is even used in cardiac rehabilitation centers and in natural hormone restoration programs. The goal? Reduce oxidative stress, restore the balance of the autonomic system, and reactivate vital tone. Here is how to apply it. Lie down or sit with your spine fully erect. Place your hands on your lower abdomen just below your belly button. Inhale deeply through your nose, directing air to that region. The abdomen should expand gently as if inflating an internal bladder. Hold the air for 3 seconds, keeping the abdominal muscles relaxed. Exhale slowly through the mouth as if you were exhaling through a small straw until you completely empty your lungs. During exhalation, imagine that you are releasing all the fatigue, tension, and weight of the day with you. Repeat this cycle for 10 minutes, always focusing on the lower abdomen. What this technique does is literally reteach the body to breathe deeply, making room for the return of energy that was blocked. It activates the vagus nerve, which is the main conductor of the parasympathetic system, responsible for restoration, digestion, libido, and cell recovery. Men who have adopted this technique as a daily practice report improvements ranging from deeper sleep, increased libido, recovery of mental clarity, to a new disposition for physical activities. Laboratory tests found that after weeks of continuous practice, there was a drop in cortisol levels and an improvement in inflammatory markers, direct indicators of a body getting back on track. But there is an even more powerful element to this technique, and it is not just in physiology. It is in the symbology. When a man breathes deeply again, he is, even if unconsciously, saying to his own body, "I'm still here. I choose to live with energy." And this is something that no pill can replace. Breathing is free, always available, and doesn't need a prescription. What it requires is presence, something that becomes even more valuable over the years. That's why many doctors who specialize in healthy aging have included respiratory practices in their protocols. Because aging is not just a physical process, it is also an emotional and spiritual invitation to a new way of inhabiting one's own body. And here comes the practical closure of this journey. In the last block, you'll see how to combine these three techniques in a sequential manner, creating a 10-minute morning routine that completely activates masculine energy. In addition, we will reveal a little-known secret of neuroscience, how certain sounds emitted during exhalation can amplify the effects of these techniques. Now that you know the three techniques, coherent breathing, active pelvic breathing, and deep adrenal breathing, let's show you how to combine them into a simple and powerful sequence that can turn your morning into a true ritual of activating masculine energy. This routine was developed based on studies on bioenergy, neuroplasticity, and longevity, and can be done in just 10 minutes, even on busy days. But before we begin, it's important to reinforce one essential point. Consistency is more important than intensity. It doesn't matter if at first you have difficulty keeping up the pace, or if it seems that the effects are too subtle. The body, after the age of 60, responds more intelligently than quickly. And that means that every repetition, every breath, is silently building a new inner state, stronger, more present, more vital. Here is the step-by-step of the morning routine. Minute 1 to 3, coherent breathing. Inhale through the nose in 5 seconds. Exhale through the nose in 5 seconds. Repeat this cycle, keeping the focus on the harmony between the chest and abdomen. During the practice, mentalize a word of strength, vitality, strength, presence. Minute 3 to 6, active pelvic breathing. Inhale through your nose while gently contracting your perineum. Hold for 3 seconds. Exhale through your mouth, relaxing all your muscles. Repeat 10 times, keeping your attention on the center of your body. Feel the heat rising from the base of your spine. Minute 6 to 10, deep adrenal breathing with vibrational sound. Inhale deeply, expanding the lower abdomen. Hold for 3 seconds. On exhalation, emit a low and continuous sound as or through the mouth, vibrating the thoracic region. Repeat slowly, feeling the vibration travel through the body. This sound activates the vagus nerve and enhances relaxation and focus. You can do this sequence sitting, lying down, or even standing as long as you're comfortable. If you wish, you can put on soft background music, nature sounds, binaural frequencies, or even low-frequency oriental instruments, which make it easier to connect with your breath. At the end of the 10 minutes, remain another 30 seconds in absolute silence, just feeling the effect on your body. It is at this moment that the nervous system restarts, that the mind quiets down, and that the energy that was dispersed reorganizes itself. This brief moment is more than a pause, it is a return to oneself. Many men report that when repeating this routine for 21 consecutive days, they notice significant changes not only in their physical disposition, but also in the way they relate to themselves, their desires, their limits, and even their dreams. Because breathing is the first language the body learns, and also the last. It is with it that we come into the world, and it is with it that we decide day after day to truly stay alive. And if you've made it this far, it's because something inside you has already decided that it's time to regain the strength that never went away. Just fell asleep. And like any fire, it only takes a spark to reignite it. Then breathe, slowly, deeply. Because by doing this, you are not just activating your masculine energy, you're choosing to live with presence. And that changes everything. Doctors specializing in longevity recommend doing this routine right after waking up, fasting, and repeating a reduced version 5 minutes before bed. This synchronizes the circadian rhythm, improves sleep quality, and prepares the body for a new day with more vitality and clarity. Remember, there is no age to start taking care of your own energy. There's only the decision to breathe again, with intention, with respect, and with courage,